everyone, my name is Miri from Miri's View channel. So what we want to talk about today is how we can ace the college interview. So we'll get it started. Alright, first of all, let's talk about my credentials. Who am I? I'm currently an interviewer for MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I've been doing this for 2 years. I take care of the early decision and regular decisions. And before that, during the college, I've been college application consultant for around 4 years. I was on the other side as well to consult the students how to write a good application and write essay and interview. And then I've done 8 different internships, a variety of interviews for everywhere. So I've been on the interviewee side before, and it's only been 2 years since I became interviewer side. So I can be right in the middle ground so that I can give advices to both of them. First of all, let's talk about contact. So before you go on an interview, you'll probably get an email to contact the interviewer, or you'll get an interview from the interviewer to get an interview. So in that case, writing email is super important. Try to make the email concise so that you give the right first impression and right formal impression to the interviewer. On the interviewer side, we don't have much information. We only get your name, your school, your birth date, and that's about it. So you don't have to worry how much the interviewer knows about you. Second, so how do you prep the interview? Make sure you bring the resume. The reason why is it brings to the right start of the conversation. So interviewer gets your resume and scans through it, and then he or she can know where to start the conversation with you. So we know which one's the most important, and we can start the conversation with the most important topic. You also need to research about the school. If you want to go to that school, you need to know about that school. Why do you want to go to that school, and why is that school helpful for you? And if you don't know anything about the school, the conversation will just go until this point. But if you know about the school, it will go farther on. Prep your story. So having your own storyline is very important. In the end, interviewer will write your interview in narrative line, and in that case, bringing out your story is very important. Wind that question into a storyline. Just don't answer in a very stoic manner, like, what's your hobby? Golf. But you need to make it into a story. Make sure to prep 2 or 3 things that you're proud of yourself, so that whenever you get the question, you can wind that question into those 2 or 3 things. So for an example, for me, the 3 things I put it out there was mathematics. Second is flute. I played flute for 10 years. And third is leadership. So every question I got, I winded the question into those 3 things. So you have to go into those 3 things. And make sure to prep and practice the possible questions that might come on the way. So for an instance, they might ask you, what's your hobby? They might ask you why you want to come to MIT or other school. Or they might ask you, tell me about yourself. So there are only few categories that he or she can ask you. So make sure to Google and prep for possible questions. Okay, third, pre-interview. So you got to the location. So make sure to arrive 15 or 20 minutes before the actual interview. The reason is because once you get there, you want to relax yourself, but not to the point where you got exhausted. You can relax yourself and then get into the vibe of the location. And make sure you're dressed up properly, cleanly. You put on a smile on your face. And this is really important. So once you get there and you meet the interviewer, your handshake is very important. You heard about Trump's story. So President Trump, when he actually shakes the hand, he puts a lot of effort into the shaking of hand. So if you're just shaking a hand like this shows that you're lack of energy. But if you shake with confidence, that already shows your first impression. Really, energy transfers through the tip of the finger. I believe that. And then the location might be like coffee shop, or it might be somewhere you're comfortable with. We're just prohibited from having an interview at our houses. Don't get offended if we don't buy you a coffee. All right, so 4, let's talk about during the interview. First, confidence. So you have to get the right posture, right tone, and the right eye contact so that you're showing your confidence to the interviewer. Second, you're talking to a human. You're not talking to a computer or a stone or a wall. You're talking to a human. So if you move, the human's heart, interviewer's heart, the interview will only go to a success. And third, in order to move the heart, storyline is very important. Make every answer into a storyline so that you can move the heart and then give them a way for them to write your report into a very powerful narrative story. So during the interview, interviewer usually writes on a computer. So even though we don't kind of look up all the time and write, sometimes we need to look down and write. So make sure whenever interviewer looks up, you need to have an eye contact with them. Make sure you just keep look at the interviewer. Even though they're looking down, just keep looking at this part. If they're looking down like this, okay? So you don't have to worry that there will be no test or questions. We're only going to talk about the person you are and what you've been through. We're not going to test you with any topics or any difficult math questions, so you don't have to worry about that. Whichever question that you get, you have to wind that question into your strength. So even though they ask you like, what's your weakness? You have to wind that weakness around your strength. So let's say like, what's your weakness? Can you give a good example again?
I would say I'm a precrastinator, which is the opposite of procrastinating. So I tend to finish things way ahead of deadlines. So although it means that I don't miss any deadlines, sometimes I can get a little bit overstressed or
that was a good answer. So what she was saying was her weakness is procrastinating, but then that winds around the strengths, which she's not lazy. She's on top of things. So that only comes through as strengths. So make sure every single question winds around your strengths. Let's get through the sample questions. So the first question that I want to talk about is tell me about yourself. So tell me about yourself will almost always be the first question that you get. So you need to be ready to talk about yourself. Do you know about elevator pitch? So whenever you meet a person in the elevator, you need to make sure that you're ready to talk about yourself in 20 to 30 seconds. But if your story is powerful enough, feel free to go over 30 seconds, but make sure the story is powerful enough and concise. What you also need to put into your story is what you can give to the school and then what school can give to you. It's always a both direction. It's not the one direction that you're begging for a school to accept you, but it's a both directions. So make sure to keep that in mind. Second possible question you might get is some kind of questions on the resume. So if you have passed on your resume, they're gonna scan it and they're gonna talk about like, oh, you did this research over the summer vacation, let's talk about that. But in that case, you have to know what you're talking about. So sometimes the students just put a topic on it when they didn't really put much effort in it, so they don't know what they're talking about. And we know that, but we can feel that. So make sure you know what you're talking about and it comes through to the interviewer. Another possible question is why MIT or why that school? So make sure to research and be proud to talk about why you want to go to that school and what you can give to the school. And we're gonna talk about the personality, what's your weakness, what's your hobby, what do you like to do? And again, make sure you wind that question around your strength. And last but not least, any questions for me? So interviewer will ask you, do you have any questions for me? So this is really important. If you really want to go to that school, there is no way that you don't have any questions for that school. So 30 minutes to an hour is not enough for you to know everything about it. So make sure you have questions ready. So if you have research about that professor or the program, make sure to ask about that. Or if you want to live in Boston, make sure to ask about that. Or dorm life, everything. Any questions are possible. So we talked about from the interviewee side, and now let's talk about interviewer side. And while I interview students, I focus on a few things. First, did this student utilize time really well? So for an instance, you can go to a summer vacation, or perhaps you can do like volunteering, or you can travel around the world. But you don't need to say like, what did you do during the summer? Well, I did SAT prep. I just rested. That's not a good image to show. So the second thing I look at is, are they confident in what they're good at, and do they know what they're good at? So do you know what you're good at and what you like to do? And if that comes through, the interview will only go to the success. And fourth, what I look at is their personal qualities. So as an interviewer, I can also feel through your eyes who you are. So it may not be a very long time, but I can also feel that if you're well behaved. So make sure that you're well behaved every day so that when you're interviewing an interviewer, it comes through that your personal qualities are good. 5, after the interview, make sure you put on follow-up email. After the interview that you're done with the interview, that's not done of the interview. So make sure to write a very short email to the interviewer to thank for the interviewer's time. And make sure to say that, this conversation was very helpful. Like through the time, I got to know about the school much better. And I really, really hope to go to your school. I'm very looking forward to it. Like 3 or 4 sentences are enough. But make sure to thank the time for the interviewer. Don't do this. Make sure not to this. So don't be fake. Don't be not genuine. Just put yourself out there And make sure just communicate who you are to them. You don't need to over exaggerate, you don't need to be fake, just be yourself. And you also don't need to be like very out of energy, like, oh, like yeah. But have an energy and be yourself, that you're going to succeed the interview. So I hope this video was very helpful. We talked about how to ace the interview. Hopefully after watching this interview and then you ace the interview. And if you have aced the interview, please let me know in the comment below and I'll be very happy for you. So thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. So thank you so much for the visit today. Ace the interview. Bye-bye.